The crickets are very loud today, but we're gonna do this anyways. Hi guys, I'm April and this is my garden. I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 5B, and I do these weekly garden update tour things just because I want to keep track of what's going on in my garden so I can look back and actually see the progress, because when you're in the middle of it, you lose track of it. So this is just kind of my digital diary on what happens in the garden. Now, this is kind of the in-between state. I am starting to plan on pulling some things out because with me being gone a couple weeks ago, things kind of got away from me, and there's some introduction of some diseases that I kind of want to get rid of before they have a stronghold. But otherwise, everything is flourishing. I'm getting lots of food. I'm doing lots of preserving. But I'm just going to show you. I'm actually going to start on the mess of my volunteer area. It was actually all the way to the patio earlier this week, but I have since started pulling things out. We have birds starting to make a mess of all of the mulch, and I was afraid that we were going to start getting things living in this brush pile, so it's going to have to go. Plus, they were all the micro tomatoes, and I'm not super excited about those, which is why I didn't grow them this year, and they came up as volunteers. But that's okay. We do have this mess of a bed here. As you can see, we are still getting lots and lots of tomatoes. Let's see if it will focus. There we go. Back in there. I have been dealing with so many San Marzano tomatoes. It is ridiculous. But I am thinking about pulling out some of this because, as you can see, this Nebraska wedding plant is not doing so good. I think it's just regular dieback. I don't think it is any kind of contagion, but this plant isn't really producing anymore. We've got a couple that have ripened that I need to pull off. But if I can get some breathing space in here, I'm going to start pulling plants that are just petering out. It's that time. But here we have my sweet peppers and this zucchini plant. This was one of my replants of zucchini when I thought I wasn't gonna get any zucchini at all because my zucchini plants kept on dying because of squash bugs. I might actually get a zucchini off of this one, but it is taking over the bed, and I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I planted daikon radishes in here. They didn't make it through me not being here and babying them, so all of the radishes are gone, but the zucchini plant is starting to take over. I don't think my sweet peppers are too happy about it. I do have some more banana peppers. Before I left, I just did a mass harvest of peppers. So there isn't a lot of peppers on these plants right now, except for the banana pepper plant doing its thing. So maybe I'll get a few more of those, but I highly doubt I'll get any more bell peppers out of this crop. I am starting to see some more slicer tomatoes coming in, and they have been steadily ripening. As you can see, my trellis, it totally fell over. The string snapped, and at this point it's too much of a jungle to even attempt to put upright again. So I'm just kind of dealing with it as I can. we've probably got maybe a month left, if that, of the season. Probably less, if past years are any indication. So I'm not too worried about it, and I'll probably start trimming. I did do a trim this past weekend after I did my last garden tour and got things a little bit more manageable, but it is still super, super wild. Especially, as you can see, my butterkin squash, that is dying. I managed to save one more butterkin off of it. And then over there, the pumpkins. I got 4 pumpkins, but the vine, it's gone. What's left there, I just need to compost those 2 pumpkins. They never got a chance to like thicken up and harden. They're actually mush. It's gross, but it is what it is, I suppose, because I overestimated the cucumber plants. This is ridiculous. I'm not even watering this a whole lot anymore because, first of all, I don't need this many cucumbers. It's carpeting the side of the garden. While it looks cool, it's not fun to get through. It's not fun to harvest. It's kind of a nightmare. And I don't think I've mentioned this before. I have pretty significant outdoor allergies. Why I decided to take up gardening? Sometimes I just like to live on the edge. But harvesting cucumbers is one of those things that I get that contact dermatitis, and I end up just feeling miserable afterwards. I've got harvest sleeves, but still. So while this looks cool, I'm not looking forward to harvesting more cucumbers. I did harvest like 60 at one point, at just one harvest. And pulling this down is going to be a nightmare. I did this to myself. But the corn is drying out. And I have actually started harvesting some popcorn off of this. It's just the strawberry variety. I believe I've got a blue popcorn in there, and that's the stuff that still has a little bit of green on it. It started flowering, I guess you can call it, later than the strawberry, which is kind of why I put them in the same bed, because their open pollination times were slightly different. But we'll see how all of it ends up going. I'm kind of thrilled with what I have so far, even if I didn't get any more and all of this just became Halloween fodder, I'd be happy. You can see all the zinnias back there. I just love how that filled in. And then we've got our okra plant that has some okra that I definitely need to harvest, so I will do that later today. And that's the Okinawa pink okra. And as you can see, the cucumbers are starting to pull the tomato plants down. Yeah, I'm not sure how much more tomatoes I am going to get out of this bed because of the cucumbers. And this, I don't know if you can see it, some of these plants right here, I did a cutback of, and they are coming back. As you can see, they're there. But I don't know if I will actually get any tomatoes off of them, since they are some of the bigger slicer tomatoes. But the leaves definitely look a lot better this time around. So, yay, I guess? We've got even more of a tomato mess. I just, it's that time of year where I'm overwhelmed with harvest. I'm overwhelmed with preserving. So garden maintenance just disappears. It disappears altogether, and I feel a little bit bad, but there's not much you can do about it at this point. I'm doing enough to try and give these peppers light, because these are my hot peppers, they are my jalapenos, my poblanos, my ají, my chilies, all those fun different varieties. Not that you can see much through the sunlight coming through, but these tiger aromas kind of took over a little bit, and I am starting to think about pulling some of these plants as well, because as you can see, we're starting to get some of that dieback, and I don't want it to become an issue. I don't want it to start taking out plants I don't want to take out. But this Korean green, I think it's a long green or dark green, I have been picking so many peppers off of. I need to make a chili powder out of it. That'll be my first experiment. I don't have a dehydrator and I don't have a freeze dryer. I'm going to be trying it with my oven. But someday I do hope. I dream and I hope about getting a freeze dryer. And then we have the last bed, which is the same tangled mess as everything else. The story of my life right now. You can kind of see in there how we have, of course, a little bit of dieback, and then we've got tomatoes that have gone over into the carrots. I'm going to try and save whatever carrots I can this weekend, and I think my volunteer potato is ready to be pulled out. Got a nasturtium just living life, and of course the jalapenos and the habanero is being choked out a little bit by the tomatoes, but I'm still getting some of those. But yeah, this is big slicer time. I have so many huge slicers coming from just this bed. I think this bed just gets the right kind of light that the slicers just thrive here. And so I think I need to remember that this corner, as I'm rotating through, and I have tomatoes here, it always needs to be a slicer bed because it just works. This is my sunflower alley. I did cut back those tomatoes a little bit so you actually can walk through there. It still kind of is complicated. I'm not gonna do it right now because my allergies will hate me for running through all those sunflowers. But it's still a kind of fun concept. I still like this very cool, shaded, secret type garden area. Because as you can tell, that is where the bed actually ends. That's how much the tomato plants have grown over, which leaves you with a very small path. I mean, it's, I don't know, 2.5 feet, so it's not bad. It just can make things kind of complicated. I already talked about my pumpkin issue. I guess I could show you my ground cherries. We are getting so many ground cherries off of this plant. My husband is loving it. You can see my shadow. And then we've got the cowpeas that are kind of starting to choke out my tomatillo plant. I need to pick some of those. But this tomatillo plant is doing good. And I just saw a little bumbler. Just doing his thing. I love watching them. We've got our pots. Some of these used to be up on the deck before I had to go out of town. So we've got basil down here now. We've got more bunching onions. And of course, the honeyberries. And more basil, and more onion. And then this mess of tomatoes. I've actually been harvesting from the other side underneath the deck, and I did trim it so that they weren't coming through the steps, but it looks like it looks like I need to trim it again. I don't know if I can keep up with it, if I'm honest. But these guys are actually starting to turn, and these probably look the healthiest out of all my tomato plants. I think this is their time because all the stuff in the bed started producing super early, and these guys kind of took their time. Unfortunately, I've got some die back here because branches snapped. That crow is not happy with me right now. So that's actually a branch that I need to pull out because it couldn't support its own weight. The trellising here just went to poop. It's amazing what can happen in a week when you're gone and you're not like hands-on every day with vining plants like this. It can get away from you in a second. Strawberry plants are doing okay. I've got the pine berry down there. I still haven't seen any fruit on that. I haven't seen any fruit on it all year. I don't know if I will next year either. It might just have to be pulled. I don't know if it's doing anything productive except for possibly come around and creep into the yard. And I don't think my husband will be happy with me if that happens. Otherwise, we've got these cucumber plants. Let me come around this side because we got some cucumbers. I did harvest a bunch of cucumbers off of this, but it looks like I've got a whole bunch to harvest again. I don't know what to do with cucumbers anymore. Peach tree, okay. I do think we are going to get peaches. They are definitely starting to really plump up. They're not soft yet, but I have a feeling soon. And last but not least, we have this corner that just looks like dying sunflowers, which is pretty much what it is, but I've left it there for the birds. They can have it. And I've been doing a lot of hand watering of these blueberry plants. I think they'll be okay. They look okay. I pulled off a lot of the dead stuff. I've been babying the heck out of them. I really hope they make it, because those are pink blueberries, and I want to try them. I don't know how I forgot to show you the zucchini plant, because I'm actually gonna get a couple more zucchini off of this plant. Ah! So there's 2 zucchinis there. There might be other ones. This exploded and is looking really healthy. I've got the pumpkin back there in the center that I don't think I'm gonna get anything off of. Its sibling that was by that giant weed right there has died. That weed, I really need to pull that weed, except for it's got thorns, and I keep forgetting to bring gloves out. So that weed has just continued to thrive. You can get a better look at the peaches from here. These ones are so much more colorful, and they're softer. These might be ready first, and it might be because of how much sun they get. Interesting. But this time, it's really the end of the garden tour and all the things in it. That is the garden. So as you can see, the garden is a little bit of a mess, but it is still producing like crazy, so it is perfect. And I'm gonna sneeze. Oh goodness. So apparently I've been out here too long and I need to get inside. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Goodness. As I was saying, I'm going to wrap up this garden vlog, garden tour, garden explanation. I don't know what to call these videos anymore. I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you want to see more daily updates from me, I do have an Instagram account. I will link it down below and all of those wonderful things. In case you want to check that out, I do quick garden tours a day early over there if you want to see some of the stuff going on. Otherwise, I do these videos weekly. If you want to see updates on my garden, subscribe down below, hit that bell, do all the things to get all of those notifications. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I heart you beautiful faces. Bye.